Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Looks like there's still some folks joining, so let's give it like one more minute and then we'll get rolling. Happy spring, by the way. Hope everyone's enjoying the nice weather, at least for now. Who knows what it'll be like in a week, but
It is Chicago.
yeah.
Don't jinx us, Brian, please.
Alderman, it's already it's it's just going to be awful. Nothing I can say is going to
Well, if you don't say it, we can pretend that it's not coming, and then maybe it just won't happen. We'll go where Rodney is currently.
Right, right.
And I'm staying on this island until further notice.
Rodney, I'm beginning to get concerned for you now that maybe it's like Castaway. As long as you show up with a volleyball in the video and you start talking to it, I guess.
That's hilarious.
Hey, Rodney, don't name him Wilson. Name him Michael. I got with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The tropical paradise it's becoming like a prison to you now.
Hey, it's okay. You guys are gonna join me soon. Just watch.
It brings everybody joy. We love to see that palm tree.
There you go.
All right. Well, we got a good crowd here, and I want to get going because we got a pretty full agenda for today. So welcome everybody to the March Ogden Avenue and West Southwest Roundtable meeting. Great to see everyone. Like I mentioned in the chat, we have a new member of the roundtable in Ramil Terry. Alderman Scott recommended that she join the group. So if you want to just take a minute and introduce yourself and let us know what your involvement is with North Lawndale, and we'll start from there.
Thank you so much. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ramil Terry, and I am a North Lawndale resident. I've been residing in North Lawndale for the past almost 13 years now, but I am a lifelong Chicago West Sider. I currently serve as the second vice president and political action chair for the Chicago West Side NAACP. So with the involvement that I have with the NAACP, and of course, being a resident of North Lawndale, I am extremely interested and eager to learn what's happening as we are going through this new process with building this facility at Costner and Roosevelt, or Ogden Corridor is what we're calling it. So that is me.
Great, thank you. Good to have you on and be a part of the conversation. Obviously, we've been doing this for about a year now, so there may be some things to catch up on, but I'm sure you're aware of a lot of this stuff, just to, staying in tune with the community. So feel free to interject and ask questions as you need to, and we'll be talking about Roosevelt Costner today. So to get started, Dion Bowe is going to come and tell us about the Urban Main Street Conference. We talked about this, I think, a little bit last month, but be a good follow-up to the economic development conversation that we had. So take it away, Dion.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me to present today. Really just wanted to share with you guys that the National Main Street Center, we host our national conference every year, Main Street Now, which is the largest nationwide gathering of commercial district revitalization practitioners in the U.S. Our attendees are local decision makers, as well as grassroots advocates committed to improving the local economy and the quality of life in their neighborhood commercial districts, very similar to the work that you're leading. You will see some familiar faces at the conference. In fact, Commissioner Cox is presenting on Wednesday on one of our general sessions. And there are a number of other great sessions that you guys can participate in. This is not the full schedule, but thank you so much for putting that up there, Brian. I appreciate that. But what I will do is just drop the link in the chat where you guys can take a look at the full conference. We are updating it every day. But these are the time frames where the sessions are hosted that you have here. It is April 12th through the 14th. We are having Urban Maine is actually hosting a reception on Monday, April 12th from 5:30 to 6:30. If individuals on this line are interested in attending, please reach out directly to Rodney Brown or Jesse Green on this line to let them know that you're interested. We are offering scholarships for individuals that are associated to the Invest Southwest work. So please reach out directly to Rodney and Jesse, and we will coordinate getting you registered for the conference there. Thank you again. That's it. If folks have questions, you can definitely ask me more questions, but I think you should just dig into the training schedule to see the sessions yourself.
Thanks, Deanne. If anybody does have a question about it, feel free to go ahead and shoot here. You know, we've got a couple minutes.
I do have a question, Brian. So are there, because I went on the site, I didn't want to go on too deeply, but for all of the different sessions, will we have like explanations of kind of what they'll be about? I think this is great, and I'd like to attend, where I can. And then where is it usually hosted? I know that you're doing it virtually this year, but where is it usually hosted, and do you alternate, and just like to know more about the conference overall?
Great question, Alderman Scott. Every year we're generally in a different place in the country. Last year, I think we were supposed to be in Dallas. So all of us had our cowboy boots ready for the Dallas conference, but it got canceled. Next year, I can't tell you where it's going to be yet because we're still just negotiating with the hotel and all that good stuff, but it will be announced very soon. If you go to the full conference schedule that I just popped in, the link that I just popped into the chat, it gives you an overview of each session, the times of those sessions, who are the proposed speakers, so you can really determine like the places you want to go to. And I must note on Tuesday, this is the first time that we're doing this, we're dedicating a small business day. So all day Tuesday will be dedicated for all of your small businesses that are interested in learning more about technology tools, access to capital, et cetera. So there will be a lot of innovative ideas being shared at that session. And in fact, a couple of the wellness activities that you see listed at the top are our own local Main Street businesses that will be hosting us through a couple of sessions. So please come to the conference, please, please, please. Again, it is a free code that is available to this community if folks are interested. So Alderman Scott, you can reach out directly to me. And then I would just say for the rest of the community, please contact Rodney Brown and Jesse Green as your identified corridor manager. They should be able to share that information with you as well.
And
All right.
if I can, what I would like to say is this is going to be very exciting. To make sure you get it, I'm going to ask you to send an email to Doreen at our office in Covenant. Her email address, I'll put it in the chat room, but it's DORINE@covenant.org. And I'll put it in the chat as well. Somebody's got background noise.
Okay, I'm going to move on to the next item, and Rodney and maybe Jesse, you are taking this update on the recent NLCCC meeting that was on the Quality of Life Plan.
So actually, we had a NLCCC has a quarterly meeting every quarter, and committee meeting every quarter. And so last week we had a community meeting, which we conduct a little bit different than before. Of course, being in COVID time frame, we have to do everything by Zoom. So we had 97 people on the Zoom account. We also did Facebook Live. There were 651 people that joined us on Facebook. And we had a total engagement of questions going back and forth from there with 177 people responding and asking questions. So it was a really, really rich conversation. The difference this time was that we decided in our last meeting that we didn't want to have a situation where we were just talking to the community. We wanted to be able to give them an opportunity to talk back to us. So we had 3 presentations. The first presentation that we had was regarding the new Children's Museum that's coming to North Lawndale. That's a museum that's going to be open to the entire community,
Hey, Rodney. Sorry,
Yes.
I can't. if everybody can mute, there's background noise coming. I don't know.
Yeah, somebody is talking in the background. I'm not sure who it is.
Oh, I got him. All right.
All right, good. Okay. So as I said, NOCCC has a community meeting every quarter. Last Thursday, we had our first one for 2021. We decided we'd do things a little bit differently this time. Rather than just talking to the community, we want to give them opportunity to engage, ask questions, and be able to tell us what they were thinking or ask questions they wanted to ask us. So we had three brief presentations, which again, we wanted to get to the community's input. So there was a presentation on the new Children's Museum coming to North Lawndale. It's going to be located at the Ogden Commons location. We're really excited about that. It's going to be a museum for children that can be used by the entire west side, and we're looking at it as being a destination place for the entire city, as a matter of fact. So we're very excited about that. There was an announcement about a potential new grocery store coming to the community as well. Then there was also a presentation by Wintrust, who partners with NLEN, to talk about the services that Wintrust has for North Lawndale. They're opening right now at the campus of NLEN. And if I remember correctly, and Anthony, I believe, was on the call as well as Brenda, but I thought they said they had $500,000 in deposits that came from the community. Am I correct on that number?
That is correct.
$500,000 deposits from North Lawndale.
And that's in less than a month.
Yes.
You know, that's not even a month. Yeah.
Less than a month.
3-week period, yes.
So for us, that's very exciting. And so you talk about a bank desert. This shows you how much we needed and wanted to have a facility like this coming into North Lawndale. So it was very exciting to have that conversation, to have Anthony and his team make that presentation as it relates to the banking sector. And I can tell you, Anthony's also presented to one of our classes, and we will listen to the services that Wintrust is going to be providing to the community. We're talking about both individuals and businesses. This is truly a good partnership that we're looking forward to developing. Anthony's already made it clear to me that if there's anything I need as it relates to Invest Southwest or anything like that, that he stands ready to work with us and is looking forward to being an able-bodied partner with North Lawndale Community Coordinating Council. He's already part of NLEN, and so he'll do the same thing with Invest Southwest along the Ogden corridor as well. Then there was also a discussion Jesse presented on Invest Southwest, again, talking about the projects that we are working on in North Lawndale, Roosevelt Costner, Ogden Holman projects, all those things, and as it relates to what's going on. We talked a little bit about the Lawndale Line project as well. But for the most part, what we looked at, those were the three presentations that we put together. After we did the presentations, what we did is we had everybody assigned to breakout rooms. And so we then allowed the committee chairs to go into the breakout rooms, and we allowed the community to come into those various breakout rooms and ask questions of the community chairs as it relates to their issues, whether it's housing, economic development, education, etc. So people were able to provide some questions up front. We addressed some of those initially, but most of the questions, some other questions rather, were then answered within the breakout rooms. And this is really an opportunity for the community to talk to us, tell us what they were thinking, ask us questions. And again, I think when I look at the engagement, when I look at the number of people that were involved, I think this is something that they were hungry for as well. So again, like I said, 97 people on Zoom, 651 people on Facebook. That says to us that the community was eager to have a conversation with us about what's going on in North Lawndale, and and what's to come, and how they can get engaged, how they can join the community organizations, and then what they can do to help execute some of the plans that we've been talking about for the last 4 or 5 years. So that, in a nutshell, is what we did at the last community meeting. Again, we'll do one every quarter. If you are not on our list to receive email invitations for that, by all means, please reach out to our office and let us know, and we'll make sure that we get you on our list. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Rodney. Yeah, that's a lot of news. That's really exciting about the Children's Museum coming to Ogden Commons. I know that Deborah has been on here talking about it in the past. Just sort of, as a concept, but it's really exciting to see, that development move ahead. And I guess I have a question. Is the grocery store a reality now? I know that that's kind of been
Yes, there's an MOU that's been signed. It's Urban Markets that has made the agreement, and so they're just working with Habitat on it's 42,000 square feet. And at some point, Leslie Mitchell-Bond, who's on the board, she's our vice chair for Sinai Chicago, but also kind of the person who's spearheading this. If ever you want her to come and present the plans, I'm sure she'd be delighted to do that.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, Deborah, that, you know, if you want to book some time on a future meeting to talk about everything that's in the works, you know, like when it's in a place that's appropriate for that, let's do that.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, great. Anyone have any questions for Rodney? All right, well, moving right along, we have a presentation from DPD on the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund. I think that the word is pretty widely out there by now, hopefully. Sophia doing a great job on that. So we'll fill you in on just the latest progress on that. So it's all yours, Sophia.
Thanks, Brian, and thanks everyone. As Brian had said, I think you know, really because of the work that you guys are doing and the other community partners, the word about NOF is out there. So really, this is just a quick crash course on NOF for anyone who is not as familiar with it, and then more so kind of just Q&A to you guys as a community stakeholders in terms of looking forward. So Brian, if you go to the next slide. Just as a reminder, we are currently in an application round. It started March 8th. So we have 2 weeks under our belts. We've got 3 more weeks to go. So for anyone who is interested, they still have 3 weeks to go ahead and submit their application and get it in. If they are not ready or they feel like they don't want to apply right now, but may be interested later on, our next round is anticipated to be in the 3rd quarter. So it would be kind of end of summer, fall. Next round or next slide. So in terms of funding, again, we're talking specifically about the small grant program. So it's grants of up to $250,000. And along with that financial grant, we have the technical assistance program. And these two combined are really to do 3 things. We want to support our local entrepreneurs and small businesses, so those that are already operating in our neighborhoods. We want to attract new businesses and cultural amenities into these areas. And then we want to ensure that these resources continue to go to ongoing economic development initiatives like Invest Southwest. Next. For anyone who is interested in the small grants track, they do have to be on one of the corridors, either an eligible corridor, priority corridor, or Invest Southwest corridor. This is just a quick snapshot from our website of what that looks like. If there is anyone on this call that is interested in getting a static PDF of a certain geography, please let us know. We can go ahead and create that for you. If for anybody else where maybe they're not so focused on a specific area, the map that is on our website is interactive. So you can type in an address, it'll drop a pin and it'll show you if you're on it or if you're close to it. All of the information you can ask for regarding the kind of the eligibility of a particular address. And that website, of course, is chicago.gov/NOF. Thanks, Brian. In terms of applicants, we are pretty open. So you can be a property owner, you can be a tenant, you can be a nonprofit organization. So pretty much anyone that has a known use that is providing a revenue generating service, amenity, product to the neighborhood could be eligible. Next. In terms of the type of work that we will cover, again, pretty broad. We will cover expansions and renovations of existing spaces. We will cover the build out for a new business location. And we will even cover new construction. So ground up, if someone's got vacant land and they're interested in building something brand new, we can do that as well. The only thing that we would say is we do expect on the small grants track that all projects need to be completed within 2 years. So we are looking at motivated developers and property owners that really intend to get this done. The application is competitive. So once the application closes on April 9th, every application will get reviewed, and then they'll get ranked based on how closely they match the community needs that that we're aware of, and also how shovel ready they are. And then once we have them ranked or kind of stacked in terms of shovel readiness and how close it is to the community need, then we start giving out grants from the top down and we work our way down. We're anticipating probably around 30 projects in this next round, just based on previous rounds and how those have stacked up. For anyone who's interested in a grant that is larger than 250, so this is the 250 plus, with a maximum of 2.5 million, there is a large grants track. It's a little different in that it's not so much competitive. You're not competing with another applicant, so to speak, but it does require city council approval. There are some additional requirements because with the additional funding, we want to see those dollars go to MWBE construction and local residency, prevailing wage. So for anyone who's interested in that, we encourage that they factor that into their overall budget. Next slide. In terms of what's allowed and not allowed, this covers both the small and the large grants. So again, we're looking for improvements that are part of larger renovations. One way to think about this is we want projects where the residents, the local community members walking by can see, oh, something big is happening here. Not just, we're gonna repaint the walls on the inside or replace, one broken window. Maybe the broken window is part of a full facade or storefront renovation. So larger renovations, we will also cover acquisition of a building, demo, and environmental remediation costs. We will also cover security measures. So we've had some questions about that recently in terms of what that covers. This is anything that has to do with the wiring, any equipment that is attached to the building. So it won't cover things like computers or CD burners to record the video. But for anyone who is interested in putting in some security utilities into their space, this will help mitigate those costs. Roofing, facade, any kind of mechanical work, architectural, engineering fees, so on and so forth. In addition to not covering small improvements, we also won't cover anything that is residential. If it's a mixed-use building, we'll cover the commercial portion of the project, but anything that's residential is excluded from the calculations for the grant funds. We also won't cover building code violations if it is currently in court or if it has already come out of court and there has been some sort of penalty levied to it. So if we know that there are some, undersized utilities or some issues in the building that need to be upgraded to make that building usable, that's fine, but you can't currently be in court because of those building code violations. And then last but not least, operating expenses. We know that people are looking for funds to cover getting back into gear with the relaxing of the COVID restrictions, but unfortunately the NOF program is just not there for that. Next. So in addition to the financial assistance, we also like to remind folks that there's, kind of 3 additional categories of assistance that we provide. I've already mentioned before our TAs, so lending coaches, architects, construction managers, that really help to not only provide education to our grantees if they need it, but more importantly to help the grantees with their capacity. Most of these grantees are all entrepreneurs in their own rights and running at 110%. So this is just additional staff to help them get their project across the finish line. We do also have concierge support, which means that as they're going through the city for business licensing or for building permits, requesting a construction inspection, they can always let us know, and then we can coordinate that with our colleagues in the other departments to make sure that those happen as quickly as possible. And then last but not least, we always remind people that, while these projects cannot happen without our grantees. The city wants to make sure that we recognize them and give them the acknowledgement of the hard work that they have put forth envisioning the project and also leading it to, across that finish line. So whether it's a ribbon cutting or a groundbreaking, we are always happy to talk to them about, doing some additional marketing, whether it's social media or some sort of an event where, we can have city staff in attendance. Next. So in terms of contact information, I'll go ahead and put my personal email here in the chat. If there's any questions, you can reach out to me. Folks can also reach out to the program in general at nof@cityofchicago.org. Anyone that's interested in the large grants program need to start by reaching out via email to nof-large@cityofchicago.org. From there, the team that handles the large grants track will start the conversation and then kind of make sure that you have the application instructions on how to apply. It is separate from the online application that the small grants track uses. And then finally, I think most of you guys are familiar with Summer Corps. Summer Corps, as our program administrator, is also a great resource in terms of asking questions, or if there's anyone that's looking for that matching funds to NOF. Summer Corps obviously has their SBA loans, and also aware of the other kind of funding programs that exist in the community. That is pretty much it on my end. So questions, comments? We've got 3 weeks left before the application closes. All right, if not, I'll turn it back over to Brian. And like I said, if folks have any questions, they can always email me directly. Email address is sophia.carey@cityofchicago.org. It's in the chat. Thanks,
Sophia?
guys, and good luck.
Sophia,
oh, go ahead, Alderman.
Go ahead, Rodney.
No, I'm just going to add that if there are people that that might be looking for some support, New Covenant does provide support for people looking to apply for the NOF as well.
Absolutely.
And I was just gonna say, Sophia, you can the other maps that you can everything that's not in 24, you can just burn because nobody else needs any of that money.
The NOFQIA is the 24th ward.
I was gonna say our support also is just for North Lawndale, but I didn't want to be,
No, that's all we need. That's all we need is support for 24. That's it.
Awesome.
All right, thanks a lot, Sophia. And obviously, if anybody else has any, first, everyone, please, like I asked in, the email where I distributed the materials about it. I know the information sessions have passed already, but please do share this on, your networks, like, Rodney. I mean, I know you're really involved in this, but just like you said, having, 650 people in a meeting, the neighborhood, email lists and, social media pages are really helpful for this. We had a couple of good projects that were approved in the last round, but, the Alderman is pushing for here. Let's get more in North Lawndale in the 24th ward. So please, it's definitely not too late to make sure you're just kind of blasting that out there to everyone. So thank you.
Yeah. Oh, and I should also mention, Brian had mentioned that the info sessions have passed, but we do have them recorded and you can access them as well as a presentation deck on the NOF website. So, so don't worry if anyone has missed the info session, they should be able to, they can still watch it. And then just to reiterate what Brian said, I mean, I think I'll just say for me personally, the biggest value that I see in each and every one of you is your ability to identify which are the right projects for your neighborhood. And so as you're out there and you meet people, make sure that if you think they've got a strong project, something that the community wants or needs, have them apply. And Rodney, you and your staff, Brenda, you guys have all helped with coaching applicants. Those are all things that, you know, DPD can't necessarily do because we're part of the review process. So, so it's just great to have you guys as partners to help coach up these applicants and help them with their project planning. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And so I get this is my oversight here, but we also have Nora Curry here, who's the program manager of the Spiff program, so the Small Business Improvement Fund. And I neglected to mention that the Ogden Pulaski district is currently accepting applications for Spiff. So I'm going to let Nora jump in here. So unfortunately, I don't have any slides for it, but she can take a few minutes to speak. So Nora, you all set?
Sure. I actually could probably find a few slides if for a minute. Do you have a copy of the TIF map by any chance?
Can always pull it up.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Nora Curry. I am the program director for the Spiff, the Small Business Improvement Fund. And I just jumped on seeing that you all were meeting. The Small Business Improvement Fund, or the Spiff program, is very similar to the NOF program. And we offer grants for small businesses and small property owners to make improvements to their properties. We are slightly different from NOF in that we are offered for 30-day periods. It is open right now for the Ogden Pulaski TIF, which houses the Invest Southwest corridor, the Ogden Invest Southwest corridor. And properties that apply that are located in the Invest Southwest corridor will get priority in the case of in case we get more applications than we have funding for. I'm looking as I'm talking for a presentation I gave the other day. What you need to know about the Spiff program is that you do need to apply before the deadline, the 31st of March at 5 p.m. It is also, we have an administrator for that program. It is also Summer Corps. It is open to commercial and industrial projects. We work on permanent improvements similar to NOF, as I said, open to commercial project or maximum grants. I'm going to just open this right now. If I can, is it okay for me to share my presentation?
Yeah, go for it. You should be able to do that.
Okay. Do that real quick. I think it'll be a little bit easier.
Sure. Yeah, and we did kind of prime the group because we talked about it last month too.
Oh, great.
Please feel free to go ahead.
Okay.
You have a few minutes. We got to get to Ethan's.
Yeah, I'll give you the speed show. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to let you know that it's easier if you can see it. So it's available in the TIF district. Here we go. So the main priorities is that you have sales less than $9 million a year, or that your net worth is less than $9 million. You can be a tenant or a landlord. You can own the business. You could be an existing business or a startup. Maximum grant is $150,000. If you're a single tenant, multi-tenant is $250,000. Industrial businesses have a higher grant. We will reimburse you, or you can set up an escrow account to get the money. You can be eligible for up to 90% of project costs, depending on the size of your business. The smallest business can receive up to $3 million. The smallest business, if you are making up to $3 million in sales, or if your net worth is up to $3 million, you can be eligible for up to 90% of eligible costs of your project. The more you make, up to $6 million, 60% is reimbursable. Up to $9 million, 30% is reimbursable. I'm going to skip this part. This is a map from a different project. You can see when our rollouts are. As I said, ours is going to be in March. The only kind of projects that are not eligible for Spiff, most businesses are, but similar to Sophia's program, We do not support residential projects. We will support a mixed use. We'll work with the businesses on the ground floor. We can't help chains or franchise businesses. Bars and nightclubs and liquor stores are not eligible. Tobacco, hotel and motels, adult uses, but most other businesses are. We will work on facades, facade improvements, storefronts, permanent interior renovations, roof repairs, HVAC, that sort of thing. We can't do new construction, no minor repairs, no equipment, no landscaping. Design excellence is very important, and we will pay for architects and construction managers. If you're doing more than $25,000 in grants, we do need to see exterior improvements. And there's just an example of one of the projects we did in Bridgeport, both inside and outside. And then just some additional things that need to be done. Most of our projects average about 18 months to completion, but we can work as fast as you can work for the most part. And then there's our contact information, but you can also work with the corridor manager, with Rodney and his team. If folks know Lawndale Business Renaissance Association, they're also well familiar with it. And of course, your aldermen are also big helps as well. And I know I wasn't expected to attend today, but if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them or take calls or emails later. We also have a website, chicago.gov/Spiff. It's pretty simple, Spiff with a B, because it stands for Small Business Improvement Fund. So thanks.
Thank you, Nora. If you can just hand the screen sharing back over.
Oh yeah, sure. Sorry.
So unless anyone has a quick question, Ethan Laster from the West Region team, who hopefully you're all familiar with him by now, has a couple of items here, but mainly the Roosevelt and Costner RFP short list of developers. So Ethan, it's all yours.
Thanks, Brian. So first off, actually, there was an item about the Lawndale line. We believe we have a consultant team selected or on board for the Lawndale line, and a lot of comments, even during the RFP community conversations, are more about kind of a larger strategy about housing and economic development and the greenway throughout this area. So that team is supposed to be in place. We submitted documents to the Department of Procurement, and turned out that takes a tiny bit longer than we thought. So we can't kind of fully announce that right now, but we expect to be working with that team and have kind of kickoff engagement events in April. So look for that really soon, but sorry, I can't speak more to it right at this moment. Going back to the Roosevelt and Costner RFP, what we're presenting here today, and I'll try to run through a lot of information quickly to get a little bit of time to discuss, is the idea of creating a shortlist for the RFP. So why a shortlist? It's a very large, complex site, hard to do based on the sample size that we have thus far. So some constraints that we currently face are that the city must address all comments or all general comments to all RFP proposals right now. If we have a short list, we can provide more specific feedback and recommendations for each individual project. And in general, there's a lot of good things to like about every single project shown, but adjustments are needed regardless of who would ultimately win this, and getting this right is important. So as shared in February, and I'm sure as you're all aware, there were 6 teams that presented. And so I'll run through this summary of the community evaluation and our internal city evaluation that we think is leading us towards a short list of 4 firms or teams. So again, the evaluation criteria was shared at the meetings and has been used by the city internally, as well as that was our recommendation to the community. They focus on community wealth building, kind of professional competence in their experience, skills, and the design quality, and then economic feasibility. And all of that was also reflected in the online survey that went out, and feedback that we got from the community. So I'm going to try to summarize the information. Hopefully it's reflecting back what you've shared or heard thus far. So that's kind of the check-in we're looking for. We received 114 responses to the survey that went out. So thank you for that. We hope it, that keeps growing over time.
did it on the website, my tax.
Is that a question or just
Look on there,
unmuted?
'cause I did
Hey,
it.
Sheila, you should mute.
Okay, I'll keep going because I think I'm
Sheila,
louder.
you need to mute. There you go.
The second, oh, so sorry, overall survey scores, which you'll see shortly. I also tried to break out the scores among only respondents who said they were North Lawndale residents. Turns out there's no substantial difference between the results if you just filter out residents. And there's also business, sorry.
Question. So 114 North Lawndale respondents total. How many respondents overall?
Oh, no, 114 responses in total.
Okay, and how many, when we filtered out, how many were North Lawndale residents? Do we know?
I don't have that number on top, but I can find it.
You can share with me offline. I'm just curious.
Okay. Yep. So again, and the second point I hope is a helpful way to get some idea, but it's more of an art than a science. I read through the 700 comments that were received and looked for, among detailed comments about each project, what proportion of them are positive. And I tried to cut out comments that are more general, someone just saying it's good or it's bad, and comments that apply to every part of the proposal or actually should more be addressed by the city. So there's an art in that, but I hope it gives a sense of some of the comments we saw. Then I'll also walk through the city's evaluation from our planning, design, finance teams, and our kind of land management team. Again, evaluating the connection to the RFP and the community goals, design quality, community wealth building, everything shown on this page. So I'll jump to this high-level matrix of scores, walk through each proposal, and then come back to this matrix at the end. But at a very high level, we have 6 presentations. This is shown in the order they went from Tuesday night through Wednesday night. And I highlighted in green the higher scores for each category in general. So the community survey, the first thing was just an overall score out of 5 stars, some higher proposals shown here, and then the second element I made, this ratio of positive to negative comments. So cells highlighted in green mean a developer or development team has more detailed comments written about it that are positive than negative. Again, it's not the only way to evaluate, but I hope it helps inform this, and we'll share more details. And I gotta get moving for time. And the city evaluation as well, we used a 3-point scale, not a 5-point scale. And so I'll talk about this at the end, but we looked at it through kind of, again, the planning, design, land and environmental condition, and financial incentive ask as well. So there's a lot of correlation actually in the scores, but again, noting that especially for the city, it's a pretty tight range and band. I'll come back to this exact same slide at the end, but I want to run through details of every proposal. So in the order that they were presented, just getting to 548 and related Midwest, as a reminder, this larger proposal for industrial properties with the Lawndale Innovation Center housed within, and the development team shown on the left. So again, it got 3.3 out of 5 stars, the same score for in total, and if only residents are scored, slightly more positive than negative comments, which generally matches the ranking system used in the survey for elements of community wealth building shown in this graph. Some comments picked out what excites you about the proposal. It seems like a practical and realistic proposal, great community partners, solar panel and sustainability goals, the innovation center, the minority participation within the development team. Other concerns as well. There could be more work on the design or more creativity or more connection to the surrounding area. There's less green or open space compared to other proposals or connection to the kind of rail greenway possibility. Sorry, as a reminder, all of these slides will be published right after this meeting, so you can see all these details. But then some talk about comparatively fewer community spaces or uses. And again, these are just comments received, so there will be kind of competing comments. There's also, is there enough minority representation within the development team? There can be people who are excited by what we've seen thus far and concerns about it as well. I'll go through these fast again for time, but this will be released soon. Lawndale United, a team of MK Asset Management, CNI Group, and East Lake Management. Again, showing 3 buildings, a larger industrial property and 2 smaller on the south parcels with reduced rent for small businesses and kind of an employment training program and support center. So this scored 2.8 out of 5 stars. It was about 50-50 in positive comments versus some, I guess, negative challenge or negative comments. Scored slightly less well in the overall kind of evaluation of community wealth building in the survey. So what excites you? Black senior leadership and ownership in the development team. Reduced rent can help small businesses, the entrepreneurial support, partnership with local organizations, and again, called a kind of realistic and achievable project. Concerns are, again, that design kind of lacked creativity or connection to the surrounding area or to the greenway. Is it overly focused on industrial? Industrial was an intention of the RFP, but it was a concern expressed in the survey. And then comparatively fewer community spaces or uses. Cubs Charities and Pritzker Realty Group. So again, a multi-purpose recreational facility and training campus on the south portion of the site and an industrial warehouse on the north portion of the site. So this scored 2.9 or 3 out of 5 stars. This was a little bit odd in that the overall score was comparatively high. When I looked at the actual comments, the comments were generally more negative than positive. And that's also reflected in kind of the overall ranking. So there are good things about every single proposal, but there were definitely some challenges noted in the community results. So excitement, again, it's pretty different than others. So youth engagement, new amenities for the community, low and no city assistance requests, and the development team has the experience to get the project done. Other concerns were generally about kind of the disconnect to job creation as a focus of the RFP. So is this fully building out kind of local minority involvement in the development team, industrial and commerce and kind of job creation opportunities is my simple summary of this as I keep going quickly so we can discuss. McCaffrey and KMA companies along with a safe haven. Again, this had a number of uses, but last mile facility, cold storage facility, workforce development and training facility, and then this kind of North Lawndale wealth engine, a entrepreneurial space, marketplace, and cafe. So again, this was received relatively positively by the community in the community score, 3.9 out of 5 stars, more positive than negative comments, and also scored relatively well in ranking criteria of community wealth building within the survey. So what excites you, the community service providers have existing connections to North Lawndale. The housing, commercial, and industrial uses was an excitement. I'll get to the concern about that as well. But again, entrepreneurial support, the design quality and connection to the greenway, and the diverse project team that has experience to get it done were all highlighted as excitement. Concerns, and this can be relative again, but comparative lack of Black or local involvement in leadership or equity building opportunities. It's a large financial ask from the city. And there were concerns, are there too many competing uses or too many things that's hard to all do there? And then a concern that this was the only proposal that included on-site housing, actually a multifamily building. So there was a comment, housing on site may not be the priority, was just a comment. West Side Works, I believe fifth, what am I at, fifth? So Matanke Realty, Safeway Construction, WBS. Again, mechanic training facility and Union Auto Mechanics facility, retail along Roosevelt, and industrial properties on the north side of the property. So again, 2.8 out of 5 stars, generally more positive comments than negative comments. And even in this ranking of different elements of community wealth building. So what excites you about it, the community service providers with existing connection to Austin, partnership with the North Lawndale Employment Network and Union Auto Mechanics, the kind of job training and ideally kind of job quality that could build from those opportunities. Believe the development team has the experience to get the project done. and then what could improve. Concern about kind of the overall layout, the design quality in general could improve. The rooftop baseball element felt a little novel, but also could be challenging. And this come up for others, but generally it's concerned about, is it trying to do too many things on one site? And then finally, RK5, which is a much larger partnership, but to simplify it, I'll say McLaren and JGMA, along with a number of partners. This included industrial warehouse, cold storage, athletic and recreational space, and a community building housing, coffee shop, co-working space, artist studios. So again, a large kind of project team shown on the right. So again, 3.6 out of 5 stars, one of the better scoring in the kind of community survey, more positive comments than the negative comments, and scored quite well on the ranking of different elements of community wealth building. So again, what excites you, this feeling that it engages with all parts of the community, people of color throughout the development team, the quality design, the partner organizations, especially Art West and other organizations were really given shout outs, I guess. Proposal incorporates local community services as well as job uses. Bigger concerns about, is it too ambitious in a sense? There's a large city assistance request, concerned about kind of the feasibility and usability of oddly shaped industrial buildings, and not as connected to the Greenway project as possibly expected. So those were brief run throughs for time of all 6, because I want to get to be able to discuss a little bit. Based on the information shown thus far, there's, I guess you can look at kind of community average scores. There's certainly some that scored higher, some closer towards kind of 3 rather than 1, or on the higher side of, above 2, I guess is an initial, I don't say cutoff, but possibility of thinking about. Noting the city scores are in general a lot tighter. I think we acknowledge we have 6 proposals that are all doing a lot of good things. And what I want to acknowledge, there's kind of this split in city evaluation between proposals that we think are really maximizing the aspirations of the RFP and community through design, through the planning, through possibly community wealth building. And there are others that are really maximizing what can get done most feasible, or kind of the most feasibly right now. And so that was noted in the review by the financial incentives team, by the land and environmental team. So generally, different projects scored higher in different elements. So because of that, and this is open for discussion right now, but our suggestion is that we could shortlist 4 firms. Those would be KMA McCaffrey, RK5 McLaurin, Matanke Safeway, and Related Midwest 548. In general, these were, the 4 highest or 4 well-received proposals. We have 2 that we can call kind of more aspirational, that were well-reviewed, but we need to work on feasibility or figure things out. Those would be KMA, McCaffrey, and RK5. Then we also have 2 kind of simpler or less, I don't want to downplay them, but simpler or less expensive proposals that maybe we could better emphasize design quality or community benefits, those being Matanke and Related 548. So collectively, we kind of have a 2 and 2, and can we have these 4 proposals meet in the middle of maximizing or getting to a meet in the middle of design, feasibility, cost, and community benefits? So the big question to Roundtable is, does this reflect what you've seen and heard thus far? Are there kind of drastic changes needed, and any initial thoughts?
Before you answer questions, there's one in the chat, Ethan, about all this data and where it will be housed.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, I think I need to talk. We'll figure out an answer for that. Yeah, I think we have to anonymize the data, probably. People had known we're going to share everything they say. They may say different things. So, but we'll work on how to share that. Yeah. So any major speechless.
You know, I have something. I'm just waiting for somebody else to say. I didn't want to dominate.
I'll ask an easy question. If this is the short list, are these 4 candidates going to be given an opportunity to address the concerns, or where do we go from here?
Sorry. So yeah, that's the next slide. I was thinking this might work for discussion point.
Then we can wait then.
No, that works. This might be presented better. So this again is up for discussion, but our initial thoughts were that we would use this meeting to confirm shortlisted developers. We can then provide every kind of community comment or recommendation that the city has to those developers to adjust their proposals in ways that we think may benefit them. We would then essentially try to give them 2 months. We're worried that 1 month may be too short for a team to make changes, but 2 months may be needed to kind of get this right, even if it takes a little bit longer. So we can use April to check in on adjustments, or more likely kind of what the city recommended for them. And then in May, have kind of a round 2 of development review. And that's the format of that isn't fleshed out again. It likely will or may need to be kind of another kind of community presentation at night, kind of larger forum. It could be at the round table, or maybe a mix of the two, or have the community presentation then come back to the round table, similar to this with evaluation. So that's initial thoughts about timeline, but glad to adjust if someone feels strongly or feels that this isn't accurate.
Ethan, this is Richard. I have a question. A lot of people in the community had a really hard time with the RFP. They felt like, the site, they felt like the survey felt like it was just difficult to get to and, get through. And so they had a hard time, checking in. So I spoke to a lot of folks. And so their votes probably did not count in that 100 and the number there. So for the next round, will there be an additional survey so that folks in the community can have some input into this process?
Yeah. Again, haven't had to think out or flesh out what the round 2 development review would look like, but I would assume that it would be similar presentations of new adjusted proposals and a similar survey process. However, there is that balance between getting a lot of detailed, good information and making the kind of most accessible survey possible. So maybe we went too far in one direction, or maybe we could have, I don't want to say 2 different versions of the survey, but yeah, we hope or think there'll be a survey in the next round. It's a good way of gathering feedback, but we can try to make it simpler if possible.
I have a question. It's more of a generalized, overarching question. How much does the community review impact the ultimate choice of the actual project that will move forward?
So there's, I don't want to create a separation, but there's kind of a legal answer and the planning answer. Legally, as a city land sale, the city's evaluation is what is submitted as the result of the evaluation. However, our intention or goal is to, as much as feasible or possible, align that with what we hear from the community and change our scores, or make sure that our scores reflect everything that's brought up by the community. So we have everything as aligned as possible. So the legal answer is, as an RFP and land sale, it has to be in a sense, city's choice. But all of this is desired to be a lot more communicative about how we make that choice than anything that happened for the past 100 years.
Ethan, is there a way to do a weighted scoring so that the community score would weight some level and then the city score would weight at some level?
So I created a row that just weighed the city average score and the community average score with the note that until city council changes the legal requirements of an RFP, which is not going to happen in this time frame. It's literally a larger legal change to have community feedback kind of officially weigh in the process. But again, our intention is to align it as much as possible given the constraints that we're currently in or under.
I have another question. Again, this is more of an overarching question. Do you have a precedent where something like this have happened previously in a community that's similar to North Lawndale that I can possibly reference? Again, this is an additional question, so I understand if you are not able to answer this question at this time.
So the Invest Southwest RFP program is relatively new to Chicago, and certainly there are other projects that are a little further along in this process in Inglewood and Austin. And Auburn Gresham. But again, they're only about a month ahead of this. This is pretty close to kind of the first round of all of this. And again, the intention is that the process improves over time, but that this is still a lot different than how the community is engaged before this started a year ago. But no, there's not a kind of direct project in Chicago to talk to that has gone through this process entirely, because we're months in, not years in.
So Ethan, I have a question. I know that you all said that you were going to give the proposers an opportunity to go back and revise, but what is is there a hard stop when a decision has to be made as it relates to this?
Let me speak really quickly, Ethan. So a couple things that I want folks to understand is, one, we want to get this process right. We don't want to, because let's say, for instance, and I'm just picking, now I'm not even gonna pick one. Let's say one is the favorite, right? And in that favorite, it takes $100 million in city assistance. I need people to understand that there is not $100 million in city assistance to do a program, and so, or to do the project. And so what we need to do is figure out what is feasibly done, what the city has to bring to the table, what the developer has to bring to the table, and then add those community elements that may not have been there before. So let's say one that does not have all the community bells and whistles, but has the feasibility to do that, may be an opportunity to amend that or do something different to have a little bit more community support. What I would anticipate is, on these 4 shortlisted projects, to one, because we're coming out of COVID, or we won't, no, I don't want to say that. We still have to be mindful of COVID, but there may be an opportunity to do things on a larger scale, or maybe do something outdoors where more people can be involved. Maybe have a survey that can be done by hand by people that are there, because once you leave out of that space, folks don't go back. And then to Richard's point, there may be hurdles that are just too hard to get over when you're doing that. So to have something where people can do something on the spot that kind of does that will help. Again, we have to be mindful about making sure that, because at the end of the day, we probably won't get another bite at the apple. And we don't want to put something in the ground that is, one, not going to be transformative to this community. It's something that is not going to afford us the ability to do other things. Is we can put something out there, and if it's an island and we don't have any money to invest in other great opportunities that may happen in our community, then we've sunken all our money into a ship that is not working for us. And so I just want folks to be mindful that, one, this is the first time that we've been doing this. If you notice other developments that have happened in the city of Chicago over the course of the last 10 to 15 years, this input that we're getting from community residents would not have been there. It would have been hey, Alderman, what do you think? Let's make this happen. And then it happens. What we want to make sure that, and the reason that we're convening these meetings like the Roundtable, and we're doing the larger RFPs, is to get the information from community members like yourself who are involved, who want to see great things happen within our community and want that opportunity to be able to share. And so what I would ask people is to be patient, because this is a work in progress. We do want to hear everything that you have to say. This is not the last time that we're going to be before you. and it is not by any means not taken lightly, the ideas that people have around this development. I just want to temper expectations about, you can't get everything that you want to get from this presentation, but hopefully at the end of the day, when we put a shovel in the ground, we will have everything that will be transformative in our community. Thanks, Ethan. Back to you, sir.
Thank you, Alderman. I know we're at time. There's a lot of stuff here. This deck will be sent out right after this, but and we'll work or figure out how to send out or what we can do with survey data we have so far and how to make different surveys for the spring. But yeah, other thoughts, or Brian, I don't know.
Yeah, Ethan.
Real quick, Brian. Real quick, Brian. Hold on, real quick. I don't think survey data necessarily needs to. I think the summarization that you have right here, being able to send that to everybody who's on this roundtable, we'll worry about the data, the larger data dump from everything. If we can get all the questions answered on the RFP, when we had the RFP town hall, if you will, getting all those questions answered and getting them out to the developers, and then being able to publish those, and then I think we can worry about this other data a little bit later. That might be a little bit. I don't think we should even try to release that currently. That's just my opinion.
Makes sense.
Well, I can send around the well, I'll be distributing the slides from today's meeting, so everyone will have those. But I was just gonna say too, I can hang around. I know, don't want to burden anyone's time, but if anybody didn't get a chance to speak and you still would like to, go ahead.
I'll go ahead and mention that I am a partner with the Montanke real estate group called Westside Works. And we did hear from some community members about concerns around the auto mechanics union and their commitment to actually reserving space for individuals who are from North Lawndale. And that I thought that was really important feedback for us. Folks are directly, and that effort, that it really is a demand that they commit to reserving seats for folks from North Lawndale. And I think that I just want to mention it because that was something that was very important to the community. And it's something that's very important to me, or I wouldn't even be a part of this collaborative. So I just wanted to make note that if that's a question, because we know there's a history with unions in general, but that I have spoken with the head of the union, that we have a paper into them now asking them to revise their policy around local hiring. So I'll keep you posted on that, but I just wanted to make mention that that was feedback that we received from community members.
Thanks, Brenda. So, we'll be bringing back more information on this project as we move ahead with the short list of respondents, like Ethan said. Anybody else? All right. Well, being that it's after 3 o'clock, I think we should wrap up, and I will be responding to the group with PDF of the slide deck from today, as well as a link to the recording of the meeting. Just kind of like one final last note is I hope nobody's getting burned out by this, because we've got the March 30th deadline for the Ogden Avenue RFP. So we'll be going through this all over again with that project too. So, dig in, I guess. And, it's going to be this process will be going on concurrently with that one. So we'll be talking a lot about, new development in North Lawndale, and, just putting a lot of effort into, what we want to see, what are the priorities here, you know. So I want to thank everybody for your commitment and your time. We will be back in April, and I hope then to be able to share at least some high-level summaries of the responses to the Ogden RFP. And we'll also get an update on the Roosevelt Costner project as well. So in the meantime, anything comes up, you got any questions, comments, feel free to reach out to me. I think everybody knows how to get in touch with me. And other than that, we'll talk to you in April.
Hey, Brian.
Yo.
I'm burned out. I quit. This is I'm going where Rodney is. I'm done.
They got internet there, so we can still work from there too.
Oh, darn it. Okay, then.
Well, we wouldn't be where we are today if we didn't have your help and your involvement in all this. So we definitely appreciate that. And yeah, you know, as well as all the other voices in the room too, you know, so yeah, you know, I mean, the more engaged everyone is, I think the stronger these projects are going to be. You know, and that's our commitment from the DPD side, to make sure all the voices are heard, and to, you know, like Ethan said, we're figuring this out as I shouldn't say we're not figuring it all out as we're going. We're figuring out some of the details as we go along, and trying to tweak it to make it a better process that's more friendly to the community. And I think with this first round of Invest Southwest RFPs, we've learned a lot, and we've heard a lot from those other communities on the west and south side. So it's probably for the you know, North Lawndale got in that second round, so we can kind of, you know, respond to those growing pains. I think it'll benefit us to, you know, see how that first round played out, and then hopefully we can do it a little bit better this time. So, all right, everybody, take care. Have a great afternoon.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Soon.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Hey, Rodney, call me, please.
Okay.
All right.